just got me a pint and I split it with nobody. All of this ice and these diamonds, they shine on me. All of this press and success got me stressed. Don't go testing my patience, I got none for nobody. Pour me up a cup and sip, slow down. I've been getting high on the low down. I'm all fucking ballin' now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Unboxed. Episode 5? Holy shit, look at us.
Oh, yeah.
If you're still listening to this, that means that we're still alive, which is good, and we haven't been taken down by any major platform, which is sweet. Makes sense, though. People are getting more followers by the minute if you are conservative and less followers by the minute if you happen to be a liberal.
Isn't that crazy?
With Elon's takeover. And I feel like people are going to be lifting the hood up of something called metaverse. Is that what it's called now? Metaverse, meta, whatever the fuck it's called. Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook,
yeah.
Instagram, maybe even Snapchat. Nobody wants to lift the hood up under Snapchat, though.
No.
A lot of Chris Boat's dick pics and Cody Adams' dick
I
pics.
haven't used that in
years.
6 years.
Pastor Rob's butthole pics. I apologize for being so weird this morning or today or whatever,
I love it.
whatever it is. But we're here. We're going to talk about some crazy shit, which is super exciting. We got dinner tonight. It's our friend's birthday.
Yep. Scotty.
Back room
happy
at
birthday.
City Hall. Yeah, happy birthday.
Big
This is forever into perpetuity, Scott. This is a happy birthday forever. It's going to be out there.
You know what I got tomorrow? I got my 3-year anniversary.
Congratulations, man. Let's give it up.
Yeah.
What?
So I'm going to cupcake a little bit tomorrow.
You gonna cupcake?
Yeah.
You got something surprised?
Yeah.
Or some surprises planned, I should say?
Yeah, I got her some cool stuff and got a little dinner planned and gonna.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll figure
Good.
it out. It'll be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. The more you do, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, especially dealing with your ass. It's crazy.
It's true.
Yeah. So we were talking this morning about what we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
And we have a list of lies, right? I mean, that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yep.
So I'll let you talk about maybe some opening thoughts, but we literally have, if I'm not mistaken, like 20 things that we're going to go through systematically that this administration and really everybody that has lied to us about, which is exciting.
Yeah. So first, I do want to credit Jim Jordan. He's a congressman out of Ohio.
Sweet.
So he had a deposition to other members of Congress, basically laying out a lot of the things we're going to talk about. Now, you and I have touched on a lot of these just throughout our last few episodes, but we really just wanted to focus on the amount of lies that the media has told us. Yeah. Because there becomes a point where it's like, how many times will you let your authority figures, your politicians, the media lie to you that are openly lies before you wake up? Well,
the way I put it is this, like, how many times are you going to catch your chick cheating on you before you actually wake up? Right? It's like, it's this toxic.
I'm not going to do it again. Yes, you will.
Yes, you are.
Correct.
Like, it's this toxic, just real talk, I've been in toxic relationships, and we'll fight about something and we'll say we'll never do it again, or we'll do something to it, whatever the case is. And dude, at some point, someone needs to cut ties and stop. Hopefully that someone is our listeners, right? Where they actually look at something like, holy shit, I've been lied to about so many things. Like, when am I going to cut ties with these, or let these people how many times am I going to let these people continue to lie to me?
Correct.
So you can relate to a toxic relationship.
It's wild. So the first one, and this is from a while ago, was the BLM riots. We're going to call it what they were, even though CNN called them fiery but mostly peaceful protests, right?
Well, it's important too, like, and I hope that folks understand, and again, I'm just trying to digress so our viewers don't, because I don't know this. There is a vast difference and significant difference between BLM, the movement, and BLM, the organization and company. And BLM, the movement, is Black Lives Matter.
Empowering
no
black
shit.
People, yep, which we're all for.
Good. Yes, of course.
Yes.
BLM, the company, and BLM, the chapters that be, and the organization specifically, is a corrupt, anti-fucking human right company that doesn't give a fuck about black people.
Open socialists,
they don't give a
Marxists.
shit about anything.
They want to destroy the nuclear family.
Correct.
They want specifically black people dependent on the government.
Correct.
They have done nothing for that community. But where the lie comes in is the media said those were peaceful protests. That was an outright lie. There was over $10 billion in damage. There was, I think, 40 people were
Apple
killed.
Store right here?
Yeah, 40 people were killed. And the reason that this is important is if you look at other events, January 6th, where like a protester was killed by a police officer, which was debatable. Like there's video footage, but they framed that as a huge insurrection. That was worse than what BLM did. And as a society, we cannot function if we, based off our political views, we justify violence and breaking the law. It's not, the ends do not justify the means, regardless if that is advancement for your political side, left or right.
It's the purge.
Correct. You have to condemn all violence. You have to be supportive of following the rules. Otherwise,
you can't have a society.
Chaos happens.
You can't have a society.
Correct.
You can't have a functional society. You can't have a functional economy. It's like Mad Max. It's like the purge. It's like all these other things.
Yes.
Like you have to have a set of rules, standards, and laws. And those people, it's funny too. If you really look, go ahead and pop in YouTube. How many of those folks were actually African American or black? Most of them were fucking white liberal people.
Yeah.
A lot of them
Wild, huh?
that were protesting and making a fool out of themselves and looting other places.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the African American community.
Well, no, and there was African American business owners, and just how many people's lives were ruined because of that.
Ruined, man.
I'm sorry.
Not only COVID, not only did that put your face in the dirt, but then you had these.
Correct. But the media went to bat, told us an outright lie that it was peaceful. And if you believe that, you got played a little bit.
Right.
So,
and if you didn't believe it too, and this is the thing, and this is just a common theme of what the left or what the the establishment, I should say.
Yes,
establishment, anti-establishment. Let's stop with the left and right shit.
Yes, I agree.
The establishment wanted you to believe that they were peaceful, wanted you to believe that these things were happening in the name of justice, and really they were just happening in the name of anarchy and chaos.
Well, my favorite part too is, if you recall, a lot of these protests were happening mid-COVID, and you would have, Democratic elite politicians walking without, people without their masks on in crowds. This was mid-pandemic, but again, because they were supportive of that side, COVID didn't impact you if you were protesting for BLM. It only impacted you if you're a business owner and things like that, which is just so ironic.
Right. And if you opposed it, and this is the thing that, again, there's a vast, significant difference between Black Lives Matter, the movement, which we support, and Black Lives Matter, the organization.
Totally.
If you opposed it because of the nuance that maybe our viewers didn't even know, because of that nuance, because it's labeled the same thing, purposefully, by the way.
Yep, totally.
If you opposed it, you were racist.
Correct.
It didn't matter because people didn't understand the nuance between the two. If you understand the nuance between the two, you understood that, hey, that shit ain't right. It doesn't matter what color you are. You realize, hey, raping, looting these places, breaking windows, all this other crazy shit, all the riots, all the cars put on fire, that wasn't in the name of George Floyd and all the folks, the African-American folks that have passed away because of police brutality. That was literally a purposeful raid and a purposeful anarchy, mess, and chaos, and to make people stay home, to have fear.
Correct. So then lie number 2, which does tie into this, if you guys recall, legacy media was saying that it was actually Republicans that wanted to defund the police, which if you just take an ounce, if you just Google anything, you do research on your other side whatsoever, you would know that's an open lie. I don't know how deep you want to dive into that.
Sure.
Just another lie. But
I just think that if the media is saying something at this point in our life, it's the complete opposite, right?
Yeah. So the third lie, and a lot of people may not even know about this, I think we've touched on it, but the Steele dossier.
Yeah.
So they were saying that the Steele dossier was real. So if you guys don't know, Steele dossier was a document created by Christopher Steele. He was a British, basically intelligence officer. And in there, he lists names of people that were apparently, working with Russia. They listed some of Trump's employees, Trump himself. So what they did is the FBI, actually, with help of some Democratic politicians, they took this dossier, took it to the FISA courts. Now, if you know what the FISA courts are, it's the only court that they can give give the government the right to spy on U.S. citizens because there are some privacy laws in place. Right. And they do this for terrorist threats. If you're a threat to the country,
part of the Freedom Act.
Exactly. The FISA court will give you a warrant so that you can then spy on a U.S. citizen, ignoring their rights.
Mm-hmm. Watch Snowden if you want to learn.
Yeah, so Snowden's a part of it. So anyways, they took this Steele dossier, which turned out that the Clinton Foundation actually funded the Steele dossier. There was a Democratic opposition group that was funding it, and they spied on Donald Trump's campaign. So he would come out and say, like, oh, Trump, you're crazy. It is proven in the Inspector General's report that just came out that the Clinton Foundation funded the Steele dossier's development, and the FBI lied to the FISA courts. They knew it was false. There's emails from their lawyers knowing it was false, but they still lied to the courts and sent it to get the FISA warrant.
When you lie, like I've lied before. I think we all have in this room. I think you watching have a very easy way to lie, or at least try and get away with it, is to accuse the other person of what you're doing.
Correct.
And that's what the campaign did. So the Russia is a Russian collusion. And the Clinton Foundation said that Trump was colluding with Russia during the 2016.
That's lie number 5. They were saying that he was colluding with Russia for
when it happens
2.5 years. We heard that.
The lie was they were.
Correct. It was truly the Clintons that were
spying on Trump's campaign to get a leg up.
Correct. Exactly. So put that in picture, guys. So this is how corrupt some of these organizations and groups are. So they lied to the courts. They got the rights to spy on Trump as he's campaigning to be president. Yep. What they were banking on for 2 years is they were banking that they could find something that actually tied him to Russia. They spent $40 million. They had 40 agents. They had, I think it was like 19 different lawyers, and they couldn't find anything.
But you know what what was happening that entire time?
Oh, there was smoking guns everywhere.
No, not only that, but everyone was trying to impeach him because of it. So his name was getting dragged through the mud in the public eye, even though it's crazy that his approval rating during that time frame was still like 48%, and that was on a very liberal, I think it was Yahoo at that time.
Yeah.
And like now, if you look at Biden's approval rating, I know this has nothing to do with it, it's like 32%. Anyways, my point is, they were dragging this guy's name through the mud that happened to be our president, trying to impeach him for something that literally 100% was made up by the opposition.
And the media pushed
and
it
a lie
to you nonstop.
Right.
There's a smoking gun. Remember little Adam Schiff or whatever his name is, that little weasel from the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Where the fuck's he been? He was the leader. He was part of the intelligence group, and we are just smoking gun. We're going to get him. Turned out all a lie.
You know what happens? They tap you in and they say, you're going to be the face. Here's X. Here's what happens. It's very simple. And if you think I'm fucking crazy, good. It's very simple. Soros-funded folks, attorneys, so on and so forth. You can look at Eric Greitens that just literally won a case for, say, Soros-funded accuser and prosecuting attorney. But these Soros-funded, WEF, World Economic Forum, funded human beings will tap certain figures like Adam Schiff on the shoulder. They'll say, hey, bud, you're going to be the face of X, Y, and Z. We're going to give you $7 million. Your name's going to be drugged in, It's going to be drugged through the media. You're going to be the forefront of this thing. This is what we want you to say.
Yeah.
And then when that works or when it doesn't work, guess what they do? They tap you on the shoulder and they tell you to get out of the game. And then you go hide for a little bit until the smoke clears.
And then the media turns the camera another way.
If you don't think that, if you don't think that happens, you're crazy.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the COVID episode, but where's Fauci? Where the fuck's this guy? He was the face of it. This is the whole thing. Now he's gone.
Yep.
Adam Schiff.
Yep.
Who else? We can go on and on about all of these different figures that were the main, they were the forefront. If you could picture them in your brain about who they were, what station they were on, what news, whatever channel they were on, all this other shit, they're nowhere around. Well, why? It's because they tapped them out of the game, man.
It's on to the next. Up. Yep. You know what's funny is I was Danielle and I went to actually a campaign event, and Donald Trump Jr. was speaking there.
I remember when you went.
Yeah, and he hilarious guy, super cool dude.
Great guy.
But he was saying that it's so funny because the Trump family, or at the time, his father had been in office for like 3 years, right? That's it. They're new to politics. They came in a little bit blind, thought they could do a lot of things, which they did, but they didn't quite realize the level of corruption that was there. So it's just so funny that he was demonized when you guys are putting in guys like Biden, who have been around for 50 years. If you knew the amount of corruption going on in both left Republican,
100%.
establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats,
right,
you would be appalled.
Yeah.
And it's just sad that you guys didn't give Trump a chance. Hopefully he comes back and can
versus
fix that.
anti-establishment. It is you can't stress that enough. There is a reason why everyone's like, well, you should get an independent in there. Well, I'm actually a registered independent because I'm a moderate human being. It's just who I am. I have ideals and thoughts that I think are more democratic. I think I have ideals and thoughts more fiscally on the fiscal side for a Republican. I'm an independent. I'm actually a registered independent. My point is, you're not going to have an independent run because it's not polarizing enough for the American people.
Yeah,
if there's
right.
not enough lies, there's not enough there's not enough things you can catch them in. There's not enough media attention to those people. That, and you have folks like you or I that are young, like the whole concept and thought process. I don't know if we cover this in Biden's Blender, but the whole concept and thought process of somebody younger coming in, like everyone's like, these people are so old. Like Biden, the last few times he's spoken, I mean, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like, but my point is, people watch that. The normal folk, the folk that have voted for him, the people that didn't vote for him, they watch that. The people that didn't vote, which if you didn't vote, please fucking vote.
Yeah.
Just vote, please. Yeah. Jeez, it's your God-given right. It's your American right.
Yep.
But you say, well, why won't somebody younger come in? And it's because of you. It's because it's you. It's you. It's because if someone like Chris or myself or somebody wanted to go run, we all, including you, the viewer, have skeletons in their closet. There's something you're not proud of.
Exactly.
Period. And people don't want to put that out there, whatever that might be. It could be something silly. It could be something big. Who knows?
Yep.
But you don't, as a young human being, if I went in the office or tried to run for office when I was 40 years old, like, I don't want my family to be drugged through the mud like that. It's not worth it.
Yeah,
it's $400,000 a year. Bro, I make that. I'm good. I'm all set. I make more than, I'm not worried about that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? For what? For me to, so.
But you're right, though.
It's just kind of silly.
The reason that you have career politicians as opposed to someone who knew who comes in to try to bring change is the second, you got to understand, the second that person does come in, just like cough, cough, 2016, someone came in that wasn't supposed to come in. They mobilized every media, legacy media, social media, and just crucified them. Yeah. And they will do that to everyone as long as
upset the establishment.
Keep trusting legacy media.
Yes.
And I'm saying don't even trust Fox News. I'm saying question all of it. Read everything.
Yes. Exactly.
Because when you just blindly, you sit there and you watch, and that's the problem, is most people sit there, especially, middle America, they just sit there and watch their TV and, man, they don't actually research.
Right.
And I think we've talked about that 1,000 times.
Agreed. And the other thing I think about is, like you said, Biden and all of these establishment politicians have they've had their dirty laundry already aired out. It's already aired out. So they don't really give a fuck. No, they've already been there. They've drugged their team. They've already accepted the responsibility of whatever those things are. Maybe they haven't. We'll get into Hunter Biden's laptop. Yeah. But they've already accepted a lot of those things and they're okay with it. They're done with it. They know that's what their career is going to be for. So if you have a guy on the other end or a girl on the other end that can actually really come in and make some change, it's scary to have tough. Yeah, it really is, man. I mean, look, you said question all the media and legacy media and so on and so forth. And if you think for a second that it wasn't a prime example when this $30 million, I think is what it was, CNN Plus came out and there was 10,000 subscribers. Million. Is it 300 million?
300 million, yeah. Yeah.
Bro, give me that money. I can do better with it.
Wild.
Where did it go?
To
what?
Development.
But what?
Executives probably, yeah. I don't know. It's crazy.
Pfizer. Dude, I have an app idea. I've talked to you guys, maybe I think about it. I'd only need 1 million. And it would jump off. Why the fuck do you need 300 million? Where did that money go? I would love to see it. I know it's a private company, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Or what's the parent company? Is the parent company gonna?
I don't
whatever.
know.
Regardless, I would love to see where that money actually went.
Yeah,
they did not go to the development of CNN Plus.
But I mean, they're getting less views than fucking some podcasters that we listen to.
Well, legacy podcasting. So if you look at, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Rogan gets something like 5.6, no, 11.
That's more than that. Yeah, it's like
11 million views per week.
On
Rob,
average.
you watch it?
Per episode.
Per episode per
Yes.
week or per
episode.
Right. And then you got like Andy, you have like
3, 4.
3 or 4.
Shapiro's up there.
Shapiro's up there.
Actually, Tucker Carlson is up there.
Tucker's up there on the legacy media.
Yes.
I think he has 3 or 4, but you look at everywhere else and it's like less than 1 million.
It's crazy. And they know that.
Well, if you lie to people,
Yep.
at some point your lies come true.
Yep.
So you got to tell you the truth, even if your voice shakes, folks. It's important that
Totally.
you do
Totally.
so.
So then lies 6, 7, 8 we talked about we already talked about these in the last episodes where we break down COVID, but they told us first that COVID didn't start in the lab. We already broke down that it's 100% did.
What?
The way that the DNA is, the genome is comprised evolutionary, that could not happen in such a short time frame.
Yep.
Lie 7.
What?
They told us the vaccine can't spread it. We know that's a lie. You can totally spread it. And then
Yes,
lie
you
8,
can.
they told us first, if you take the vaccine, you can't get it. Those are all lies. And the reason we mention that is those are very important lies that people believed, and they were just outright false.
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
It's just saying shit to say shit. It's the same
Correct.
thing as saying, yeah, the safe distance, social distance is 6 foot, and you just made it up. I mean, you can't. It's reckless.
It's what
It's
it is they
reckless.
think you're stupid. And it's like telling your kid, hey, if you eat your green beans, you're going to grow to be, 10 feet tall. It's just, they think you're literally a dumb little child. You'll just do as they said. And they were trying to push the vaccine. So they said these things, and most people just listen to my legacy media. They said that you can't get it. Question them. Always question authority.
Yeah,
There's
totally
a
agree.
motive.
Yeah. In my opinion, it's just incredibly reckless, and it just shows that these folks have no ethics, no morals.
No.
And they don't really understand the repercussions. And I feel like they don't understand the repercussions of things because they've never lived a normal life. So a lot of these folks, and this goes back to not having their dirty laundry aired out, are groomed from the beginning.
Yep.
And they go to perfect schools. They go to manner school, right? So you can have manners. They are from the jump literally living inside of the Senate, the White House, the this, the that, the social clubs, the country clubs, all of these things, and they never really live like a real human being. They never have had to want or need for anything in their life.
Yeah.
So they're so reckless because they don't know what the other end looks like. They've never had to share a fucking $5 hot and ready pizza and split it between 2 cards, $2.50 and $2.50.
No.
They've never had to worry about like, hey, you know what? I actually can't afford gas. I'm going to walk. They've never done that.
No.
None of these politicians have. So they're going to act reckless because they don't understand the consequence or the repercussion of what it looks like on the other side.
Yeah, totally.
And they don't give a fuck about
Correct.
you. They don't care.
Correct. Now, lie number 9, and we should talk about this new Bureau of Disinformation because this is important, but the Hunter Biden laptop, okay, which was discovered before the 2020 election actually came to be. Immediately, and even after Biden won, they labeled it as Russian disinformation.
Yeah.
They had 51 intelligence agents come out with an article stating that we believe this is Russian disinformation. Now, if you recall, in 2016, prior to the election, and I believe there was a report that came out. Was it on Hillary Clinton's health, or there was something that? Or no, excuse me. It was that the FBI was investigating her based off her emails.
Yes,
that was it.
Yeah, it was emails.
Yes, and they basically about a month and a half before the election, Comey came out and acknowledged that we are investigating Clinton for the emails. Well, a lot of people attribute the reason she lost because they said that. And the legacy media back in 2016 was a lot less biased than it is now. And they believe that the legacy media actually helped Trump win. They hated that. So about a month, 2 months before the 2020 election, it comes out that Hunter Biden, who's a drug addict, meth head, left his laptop at a Delaware repair store, and someone turned it in. And on the laptop has everything from, pictures and videos of sex with minors, doing crack, doing all these different things. But most importantly,
yeah,
it has to do with the business dealings between him, the big man, which he references his father, and then their uncle. I think his name is, I forget his name. Mm-hmm. But that
business dealings in
Correct.
Ukraine, business dealings in a lot of different places. China.
Yep. Ukraine, China.
Not
everywhere.
our friends.
No. Now, that is very concerning because what happened there was the media, Twitter, all these places, they silenced that story. You probably didn't even know about the details or see the photos of that unless you were really tied into like some conservative, forums and stuff.
No, they blocked it.
Because it was getting blocked immediately. You shared it, it got blocked. So you cannot tell me that is not election interference when that is public information that the public would like to know. Can you imagine if Donald Trump Jr.'s laptop was found and he was doing all these crazy things and talking about deals with Russia with his father? The media would have blown that up.
Yeah,
but it goes to show how biased they were towards Trump and towards Biden. They worked in his favor to make sure he was elected, to make sure Trump was out.
When this whole thing came out, the laptop thing, I was like, what the fuck, a laptop? Who gives a shit? And then you start to realize what's on there. And the only ways
messages.
The only reason why or how you start to realize what's on there is that you follow these types of things on social media, because that's where 80% of people right now, 75% of people get their news, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because if you only follow, and this is just an interesting like look at things, if you only follow conservative thinking and things, you're only going to have conservative thinking and action.
Correct.
If you only follow liberal action ideals pages on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you're only going to have that. You're not going to see the other side of things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you should look at both.
Yes.
And you should follow both, and you should be leveraging your critical thinking cap. Now, you won't do that. Sorry, you won't. The viewers won't, because you just want to aim scrolllessly.
Yep. Not read the full article, read the headline,
just
watch a quick video.
Through.
Yep.
And it's important that you do so. I mean, we've had friends on the other side that we were like, have you seen this? Like, no, what is that? And then, and kind of the opposite on the other side, we're like, oh shit, I haven't seen that yet. So I guess my point is like, look on both sides, because you're only going to get one side of the story.
Correct.
And it's very easy to develop a viewpoint and an opinion if you're just looking at one thing.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to touch on, since we're talking about, disinformation and Russia disinformation.
Yeah, right,
so
yeah.
Biden, I think it was today actually, talked about how
Friday,
through the
April
Department
29th.
of Homeland Security, they're going to have a Bureau of Disinformation. Now, a couple of things I want to mention. Isn't it ironic that before Elon Musk bought Twitter and said that we're going to make everything public, we're not going to censor, that now Biden administration is pushing for a Bureau of Disinformation, is now going to start coming after social media companies? Why wouldn't he have done that for last year?
Because he was
because he was benefiting from it. Correct.
As soon as you stop benefiting from something, you join the other team.
Oh, totally. Right. So now this Russian so imagine now let's say this Bureau of Disinformation was established, a year ago when we learned about this Hunter Biden laptop. So you're telling me that they're just going to be able to say this is all a lie? This is a lie, this is false, and just censor and block everyone and then penalize you if you post it.
It's communist.
This becomes communist, totalitarian. This is out of 1984.
It's Orwellian.
1984, what they called the Ministry of Truth in that book, where anything that questioned the authority of the regime.
DeSantis just talked about this today.
Correct. And DeSantis was talking about it. But it's so important because you got to understand that, and we've touched on this, disinformation, misinformation,
not even a word
shouldn't be censored. The truth always prevails.
Yeah.
And lies will happen, but the truth, again, will always prevail.
Truth is undefeated.
Yeah.
The internet and the truth are undefeated. Those are the two undefeated things.
Correct.
Something happens, internet gets after that ass. It's hilarious and funny. Undefeated, champion of the world.
Yep.
The truth is also the undefeated champion. It always comes out. And it's funny how you see so many people switching sides. You have like, I think of like Jen Psaki.
Yeah.
And how she's stepping down. Why do you think she's stepping down? I think it's because she realizes what she's actually like. She's had conversation. I think she realizes what side of history she's on. And she's like, I got to get out.
Correct.
Or something happened where she doesn't jive with what's going on, or she's trying to get out before hell in a handbasket happens.
Oh, yeah.
I think a lot of people are. And when things don't go your way, like, for example, the leftist push for social media control and censorship and all that kind of stuff. When you are on the other side of that thing, it's very easy to say, fuck it, point fingers and jump to the other side, if that makes sense.
Correct.
So like, I think that's what's really happening in this situation is You have the left push for suppression of freedom of speech and their information, their agenda, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Now you have somebody that disrupts the fucking establishment.
Yep.
And Elon, which is awesome, and who knows his motives? I mean, we don't know, but ultimately he disrupts it, says, hey, I'm going to expose it. And now they're scattering like cockroaches.
It's wild.
Being found with a flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're scattering.
Yeah.
Because they're scared.
Dude.
And people, we talked about this, I think, before, but people need to be held accountable. And if you are a person that has been censoring people, that is a violation of our First Amendment. And if these board members and these folks have been in on this, including, I want you to think about this. Think about Twitter stock price, Facebook stock price, Instagram stock price, all these stock prices, right? And you are lying to people about users and how many followers and how many users they have. You're withholding information from stockholders. The SEC should be up their ass.
Yeah,
they should be going to prison.
That's a good point.
They should be, and not only that, but they're lying to the American people. And in my opinion, that's treason. Look up what treason gets you.
Yeah.
Like this is crimes against humanity.
Totally.
This is not right.
And guys,
and I would be screaming this on the other side.
Correct. If it was Republicans that had control over these platforms and was censoring
It just feels gross.
left side stories that hurt the right, I would be appalled by that. There's a reason, and you don't have to love the founding fathers, everything they did, but these guys were historians that studied every single tyrannical government throughout history to the best of their ability. And the First Amendment they made was the importance of a free speech. Because that is crucial. You have to be able to question your leaders, your politicians, any agencies. You have to be able to question it.
Because they knew corruption was going to happen.
They knew it was inevitable. So you should be appalled from this on any side. Now, lie 10 was that Joe Biden stated that none of Hunter Biden's dealings were unethical and that he never made any money from them. So
Lies.
Total lie. So if you look at the Hunter Biden emails, there's all these text messages and emails with Chinese.
Where can they find this information? DuckDuckGo? Is that where?
Yeah, just if you Google anything, I mean, now it's pretty public.
Okay.
The New York Times and stuff are actually posting on it because I think it gets to a point they can't hide it anymore.
Yeah, it's like, all right,
but now Biden's already in, so it's like he's going to be okay, But I think it would have made an impact on the election. But
I agree. Well, not that it would have mattered because the election was stolen anyway.
Yeah, right. I don't think it would have mattered anyways. But even the Washington Post, you can look this up, Washington Post, talked about how Biden got $4.3 million from China. This is verified, proven. So when it's one thing to say Trump was a Russian agent, there is factual. That took 2.5 years. You couldn't prove it. Biden, I can show you a dozen examples where he profited directly from working with foreign governments.
So I want you to look up.
It's crazy.
Joe Biden net worth.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do something real quick.
Is it 12 million?
18.
18 million.
So he's earned, just so everyone knows.
And that jumped up, for the record, guys, in the last 5 years, it jumped up about $10 million.
So I'm going to do the math. Here's how simple it is. If you look at, even with adjusted weighted inflation, so on and so forth, he should have made up until 5 years ago, somewhere between 5 and 6 million. He's been in forever. And if you look at the average price from a senator to everything he's done in politics, he should have made that. Now you could say, could have hit a couple of lucky licks and so on and so forth. So let's call it 8 million, maybe 8 mil. He's worth 18.
Yeah.
Where do you think that money came from?
Correct.
You think he just bought, and so he's a real estate fucking land investor? Like, where do you think it came from?
And so this is another thing.
I'm not saying he couldn't make it either, but I'm just saying.
No,
like,
but I mean, he shouldn't have. As a career politician, you should not have done that.
Yeah.
Same with the Obama. So one thing you got to keep in mind too, that, and this is left and right, if anyone gets into politics, and which is you're serving the public, and you end up leaving, and your net worth is in the tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. You're corrupt. Now Trump came in with he was worth, I think, $4 billion-ish.
$4 billion.
I think he lost like $1.5 billion in net worth over the course of 4 years.
Gave his salary to charity.
Yep, and he gave his $400,000 salary. So it's just funny that you guys demonize this guy and then voted for the most corrupt people, because why? The media lied to you and told you to do it, and you blindly followed instead of actually doing any research.
Yep.
Shame on you.
And for those that are sheeple, like wake up, and that's obviously why we're doing this. But it's hard for us as like lions, so to speak. Lions, not sheep. Should plug to Sean Whalen.
Yep.
You wanted to do that last time.
Yeah. I was wearing your shirt.
Sean,
last
you're
time.
the man. It's hard for us lions to not take advantage of those people, even though you want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so easily to influence and persuade these people at this point.
It is. No, and
like,
you know what? It's kind of concerning.
Really fuck with people.
It's both things. It is.
I can manipulate some shit.
Correct.
I'm not going to.
As someone who's highly motivated, it's optimistic that people are that dumb in the sense that you could truly take advantage of people if you wanted to.
They do.
Now, I'm not condoning that.
Me either.
But it's also
They are, though.
super concerning because it's like, despite how smart or how much research you do, there's for every one of you, there's going to be 100 idiots that are uneducated that haven't read a news article in 10 years that just turn on the news. It's like you still in Arizona, you'll see, especially in poorer communities. This is not to say that intelligently they're dumb. I'm saying typically not as educated. You'll still see them wearing masks walking to school. And that blows my mind because it's proven they do nothing, but you don't know what you don't know.
Can I give you an example of that? It's really funny.
Yeah.
So I've been taking a lot of Ubers lately. I had a flat tire in the Tesla. And fastest thing ever.
Yeah, awesome.
I got in my car today.
It's so slow. Uh-huh.
I was like, what the fuck, man? I was like, one of my car is one of the fastest production cars. That car is just lights out.
I know. It
Whoa.
ruins it.
But I've been taking a lot of Ubers recently. And I took a lot of Ubers in COVID. And I'm going to just show from a wealth perspective or an education perspective. All the Uber Blacks, I didn't wear one fucking mask.
Yes. Uber Blacks, I came as they like,
I drank in them. I was having a good time. They came out, shook my hand. Some of them had like plexiglass. Some of them were weird. That is what it is. That was probably
few and far between though.
Every time I got in an Uber X or an Uber Comfort, they said, put on your mask before you get in.
Yep.
No. Okay, well, bye. I had my Uber rating went down because I literally wouldn't get in a car.
Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting, isn't it?
So the higher net worth people making the money,
they don't give a shit.
Why? Because
I lived it every day.
Yeah.
I only dropped black Ubers, or I only rode in black Ubers, not because I fucking wanted to because I think I'm cool, or that it didn't affect my fucking pocketbook because it's more expensive, but because I didn't want to wear a damn mask. I didn't want to be indoctrinated or crucified.
No, I don't want to comply. I don't want to fucking comply.
It's funny how the Hyundai Sonatas, though. You had to do it.
Yeah.
You got yourself in a little Hyundai Sonata. Guess what?
No, I didn't. That's
Put
why
your
I only
fucking
drive
mask
Uber
on.
Black.
Yeah.
I've said that before. Now,
last but not least, I think we're going through inflation, or what are we going through?
So the last one is these are different narratives that since Biden took office. These
all lies, straight to jail.
You can look these up.
Straight to jail.
At first,
liar.
Legacy media was telling us that inflation is transitory, meaning it's just because there's a new president, there's policy changes, inflation's going to happen. It's it's transitory.
Yeah.
It'll subside.
My ass.
Well, then it didn't. So then you saw a few months later, there was actually people in the legacy media saying inflation is good. Look at your home values. Look at these things going up. They try to spin it, which there is some truth if you're a real estate investor side, but for the average American, when your gas is up 48%, your food is up 20%, it's not good, and there's no way to spin it. You're paying more for less, right? And your wages aren't going up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Then the third thing, which you heard was, well, inflation is because of corporate greed. The
oil companies just want so much money.
Their margins, they're just pushing them up so much. These grocery stores are just raising their prices. The corporate greed of these evil companies.
Sad to pass blame on corporate folks that actually made something of themselves.
Correct.
When it was you the whole time.
But is that not leftist policy agenda 101?
Point the finger.
Yeah, point
it's
the
on
finger.
you. It's not on me.
It's a corporate greed.
Now it's Putin. Now it's
So the next, you're right, exactly. Then after that, it became this is because of Putin and Ukraine. Well, if you looked at the inflation, it grew like this much, and then it went up this much more because of you could argue because of Russia. If you look at the timeline,
sure. But then we're also like on the side note, two things. One, we shut down the Keystone Pipeline, okay, which is all the things here, which we've talked about in Biden blunders. So then we're still giving Russia, even though we're opposed Russia and this Russia-Ukraine conflict, it's not a war, it's a conflict. We're still giving them $50 million a week for their oil because they produce so much oil. Like, at what point, how is it their fault? It's our fault for not having, from an inflation standpoint, from an oil standpoint, for not having our pipeline open.
Yeah.
For not allowing fracking, for taking away all the permits, there's 90,000 people that lost their jobs. Like, this is happening because we keep printing money. Mm-hmm. We've printed more, I think more money in the last 2 years.
Since 2020, yeah.
Since 2020, yeah, so 2 years.
95% of money in circulation.
95% of money in circulation.
That is why inflation happens,
It's scary,
guys.
dude.
It's
We're going to be in a
because
Venezuelan type
you're printing money.
situation.
And let me ask you this, guys. After the $4 billion COVID relief package passed, what changed? Literally nothing. $4 trillion, yeah. Nothing changed. So it makes you wonder, where the fuck did that $4 trillion go?
Well, and then you think about this. I mean, this was just on my phone earlier today that Biden just asked Congress for another $33 billion to aid Ukraine. He already sent $1.8 trillion, I think, or $1.8 billion. And he's asking for 33 now, something crazy. I don't know the numbers, but my point is we're printing money and giving it to other places.
To what end? So the media. So there was a journalist
to think here.
Yes.
Imagine what that money could do here. What if we put
$33
it in
into inner cities in
inner cities
or
education, infrastructure, like real infrastructure, not bullshit, like actually fixing these goddamn
police
roads.
Officer fixing the roads. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This Camelback right here? Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in the most affluent city in the damn state. Paradise Valley's right here. It's in between Paradise Valley and Scottsdale. This is a shitty ass road. I'm in my car, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's unbelievable.
It's absurd.
So yeah, I mean, we can put that money here and circulate it here, which is what's most important. We're giving it away and we're putting it in other people's hands, and that is what's driving the cost of the dollar down, which means the cost of living goes up.
Yep. Exactly.
Simple inflation.
Simple as that.
It's simple. And again, you guys were asleep when it was you guys were in history class, and you guys were asleep when you were in economics 101, if you ever took it in economics just in general in high school, and that's your fault, and you got us here. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's why you're going to struggle. Now, the last slide, which I saw today, and if you look up the White House Instagram, the White House came out today.
This is today, 4/29.
Yes, and they said that Republicans are pushing for higher taxes, and Democrats are doing tax relief.
Come on, man.
Guys, it is an open, outright lie. What they're doing is they're increasing taxes for people that make over $400,000, which, so you know, people who make over $400,000, they're not that, that's very poor relative to what true wealth is. But then they still leave these loopholes so corporate companies can still write everything off and never pay their fair share.
Yep.
And they know that because they're best friends with the politicians who are coming up with the tax plan every year. You guys are being played by them, again, corporate greed. These corporate companies are doing it.
It's gaslighting.
It's gaslighting. That's
it's
what it
saying you're doing it, but then you're doing it. So it's like telling, again, just
you're not paying your
analogy.
fair share of taxes, but you're saying, hey, you don't actually pay.
Yeah, it's like saying,
fuck
like
you better pay me, and then you're like, dude, don't.
I know that
I
know that you're cheating on me. No, you motherfucker, you're the one cheating. So you're saying that they're cheating when in all reality you're cheating, and it's just it's you doing the actual situation. It's just guilt sinking in. They're actually doing it. They're trying to place blame and look at it like it was the other side's idea when it was really their idea. It's literally gaslighting 101. So what's next? I mean, what else is going to happen now? You know what I mean? We got to look at everything through a different lens and prism.
Correct. Well, and I hope from this episode, especially if you have believed some of those in the last 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
I encourage you to research. Go to like a DuckDuckGo, which is an unbiased, does not censor based off of any political agenda, and see and just read the other side. Even if you read it and you say, I don't agree with this, that's fine. But read it, because I think what you'll come to find is when you read it, you're going to be shocked at what was told to you, and it should make you question it.
Yeah, critical thinking is the most important thing that we can have moving forward, because there's going to be so much information going out, not misinformation, information going out. You're going to have both sides of the situation. You're going to have the spin of the writer that puts that information out there, the spin of the media company, on both sides.
And you need to question it. And
you need to look at
sides.
Facts, put your critical thinking hat on, question everything, look at motives. It's really important that we do that moving forward.
Exactly. Yeah. So I hope that any of those 15 lies roughly that the media outwardly lied to you, if you got played on any of those, I hope it woke you up a little bit.
Yeah, it woke you up a little bit, and you realize that it's okay to cut ties with this toxic relationship that you've been having.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say, hey, I've been on the wrong side.
Yep.
And it's okay to think, man, what side of history do I want to be on?
Don't double down on your ignorance because you don't want to admit that you got played.
It's called being stubborn.
Correct.
I'm stubborn as fuck. Don't be stubborn. Not with this.
Not with
be
this.
stubborn in anything. Be stubborn with your house plants that you can't grow.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, be stubborn with your shirt or these shirts that just don't fit you anymore, but you just refuse to give them away.
Yeah.
Be stubborn with that stuff. Don't be stubborn with people.
Don't double down on these things. But
so we appreciate you. We love you. We care about you. That's why we do it. If you liked it, share the show.
Please.
And, that's all we got.
We'll talk to you next week.
I'm all fucking ballin' now. Fuck getting by, that's how you go down. Mama, don't you listen to this? I hope mama doesn't listen to this. I never really get influenced. She said, now you got a voice, so boy, you influence. I am no saint, don't go live in my way. Don't go give in my name, don't go sin in my place. Don't go robbing.